So the topic name is when constructors are called. In a class hierarchy, constructors are called in order of derivation from superclass to subclass. Further, since super must be the first statement executed in a subclass constructor, this order is the same whether or not super is used. If super is used, then the default or parameterless constructor of each super class will be executed. See what they're telling. See, we have looked at the super keyword in the previous programs. So how it is executed is like when you look at the subclass, in subclass constructors, what we were doing, we were writing the keyword called as super. So for example, here, shipment is the subclass, right? So if you look at the constructor shipment, so this is a subclass constructor. See how you can recognize whether the class is a subclass or not means by looking at this statement. Okay, so if you look at this statement, you will come to know whether that particular class is a subclass or a superclass. Okay, sometimes it will act as both subclass and superclass. See here you say class shipment. Class shipment extends box weight. So here shipment class refers to subclass, box weight class refers to superclass. Okay, shipment is called a subclass, box weight is called a superclass. And when you go to this particular line, okay, in case of box weight class, so here also box weight refers to subclass, box refers to superclass. So box is acting like both subclass and superclass. Superclass for shipment class, subclass for box class. Okay, and when you go to this particular line, this is only superclass. It is not a subclass for any superclass. Okay, it is only superclass. Okay. Now, if this is the case, what they are telling, when constructor are used in all the classes, so order of execution of constructor. Order of execution of constructor means, see here we have three classes: box, box weight, shipment. In all the three things, constructors are there. So when if we want to execute the constructor, the order of execution of constructor is superclass to subclass. They're telling superclass to subclass. That means first box class constructor is executed, then box weight, then comes the shipment. In the next example, they have not taken this particular example for order of execution of constructor, just class A, class B, class C. So we will see how it executes. So you look at this explanation. In a class hierarchy, constructors are called in order of derivation. In order of derivation means from superclass to subclass. Okay, since super must be first statement executed in a subclass constructor, this order is same whether or not the super is used. So what they're telling, if a super keyword is used, then we can say superclass constructor is executed, then it will execute the subclass constructor. Okay, because super keyword is the first statement used in the subclass constructor. If it is the first statement in the subclass constructor, then whenever subclass constructor is executed, 100% superclass constructor will be executed. So first superclass constructor is executed, then subclass constructor is executed. So from this sentence we came to know. If I don't use the super keyword, what happens? The concept is same, they are telling. That means this order is the same. Order means superclass to subclass. First superclass constructor will be executed, then subclass constructor will be executed. That is the order. So if we have three classes, so in the next example it is there. So first class constructor will be executed, next second class, next class 3, that is last subclass. Okay, so order is same whether or not super is used. That means if you don't use super keyword also, the order of execution of constructors is from class A to class B, class B to class C in case of multi-level hierarchy. Okay. If super is not used, then the default or parameterless constructor of each superclass will be executed. See, why we have to use a super means, if we have parameterized constructor, see for example, in the previous program, you just see any of the constructors here. For example, last constructor, you see shipment, double length, double M, double C. In this constructor, we have the first line called as super. See why we are using this type of statement is like super within that parameters. If there is a parameterized constructor in the superclass, parameterized constructor means this only. See writing like this parameters length comma m 10 comma 20 like this parameterized. But if you look at the above line, super, this line, if you look at super keyword, this is without parameter, okay? That is default constructor. And this is with parameter, that is parameterized constructor. If you use one parameter also, it is a parameterized constructor within the parenthesis, okay? If suppose if we are not using super keyword, what happens? This type of constructor will be executed. That is default constructors will be executed. So that only they are telling. Default constructors, say, for example, now here, see I have written default constructors in all the three classes. In class A, class name is A, constructor name is also A. In class B, B is the constructor. In class C, C is the constructor. So if the class name and method name is same, then that is called as constructor. Okay, I have written constructors in each class. So B is extended by A. That means B is a subclass of A. C is a subclass of B. So this is called multi-level hierarchy, multi-level inheritance. A to B, B to C. Okay, A, B, C classes. Now, when I execute the main method, what happens? You see, you just look at the main method. You just observe here what a statement I have written. C, capital letter C indicates class name. Small letter C indicates object name. So if it is confusion for, I'll make it as C1. Okay, it's clear. So C refers to class name. C1 refers to object. And this C refers to constructor. Okay, so in this line, what I have written: class name, object name, new keyword, again class name with parenthesis which indicates constructor. Okay. Now, if you look at this line, what we will come to understand is constructor present in class C will be executed. So this is very much familiar to us. This line, since class and objects we have started, this line we are looking into this line. Box, my box 1 is equals to new box. Whether it is default constructor or parameters constraint, this type of statements we are looking into the every program. Okay. Now, when I look at this particular statement, we know that this constructor will be executed because you see constructor how I used C class name without parameters. So this is called as default constructor. And in class C, it will look at the default constructor and it will execute. This is the default constructor. It will match. So here also there is no parameter, and in constructor also I have not used any parameter. So this is executed. So when I look at this statement, generally what I come to know is like this constructor will be executed. But see, what happens here is if these two classes were not present in this program, just try to understand here, if these two classes were not present, then your answer is correct. That means, yes, when this line is executed, that is C1 is equals to new C of, when this line is executed, this constructor is called and output is inside C's constructor. This output is correct. The our answer is correct. But we have two more classes. Sorry, when you remove those two classes, even this line also I should remove. Okay, this line, because I am considering only one class here, class C. Now according to the program, it's a simple program. When this line is executed, we can say this constructor is called, so we'll get the output inside C is constructor. But we have two more classes, okay? That is class B and class A. And in both the classes, we have the constructor. In addition to that, one more thing is, see, class C is linked to B. If it is independent of B and A, if it is like this, then also we can say when this statement is executed, constructor in the class C is executed, so our output is inside C is constructor. But here there is a dependency. That means class C is linked to B. And when you go to class B is linked to A. That means class B is dependent on A, class C is dependent on B. That means we can say three classes are linked here. So when this particular line is executed, program control will move to this constructor, yes, but it will say whether there is any superclass in the program. For C, whether there is any superclass, yes, we have. Superclass is B. So here before extends keyword, whichever the class name you use, that is called as subclass. Okay, this is general, I'm telling. Okay, before the extends keyword, that is called subclass. And after the extends keyword, whatever the class name you use, that is called as superclass. Okay. Now, C is a subclass of B. That means B is a superclass. Yes, now superclass is present. So it will move to the superclass, that is B. Fine. And again it will say whether B has the superclass or not. Yes, B has the superclass. That superclass is nothing but class A. Okay, I can say this is the superclass. Okay, now it will move to the superclass A. And for this, whether there is any superclass, no. So this constructor will execute first. Okay, that is nothing but order of execution. Even though we are writing the statement which should invoke only class C, but order of execution is program control starts executing from first superclass constructor, second superclass, and last derived class. So only if you look at the output here, we just look at the output, how we got. First statement is not inside C's constructor. First statement is inside A's constructor. That means statement present in the superclass A is executed first. Next, statement present in the second subclass, that is second superclass, we can consider. Inside B's constructor is executed. Next, last one is executed. That is line present, statement present in the subclass, that is C, is executed. So inside A's constructor, inside B's constructor, inside C's constructor. See, this is as good as using like this. So whenever you use a super keyword, so where we have to use in the subclass constructor, first line, it should be first line. Okay, like this. Before you write any statement, this is the first line. When you look at this line, what happens? This keyword will call the superclass constructor, immediate superclass. Immediate superclass means here B is the immediate superclass for C. So it will call this. And when you go to the B class, okay, here also, if you write like this, SUBR, okay. This line will invoke its superclass. Its superclass is A, and this starts executing. Okay, what they're telling, whether you use super keyword or not, if there is a default constructor, if there is no parameterized constructor, if there is a default constructor, without using super also, it will execute. That means when you use super keyword, how it works, without using super keyword also, it works in the same thing. That sentence they are telling in the explanation. See here. Okay, in a class hierarchy, constructor are called in the order of derivation from superclass to subclass. Further, since super must be the first statement executed in a subclass construct, this order is same. This order is same whether or not super is used. If you use super also, the order of execution is superclass constructor, second subclass constructor, last derived class constructor. If you don't use super keyword also, the order of execution is same. So if super is not used, then the default or parameterless constructor of each superclass will be executed. So only we are getting this output. Okay. Okay, now you just look at the program. If you come across any doubt, you can ask. Okay, so as you see, the constructors are executed in the order of derivation. So if you look at the output, you will come to know the constructors are called in the order of derivation. Next, method overriding. So method overriding is the very important concept in Java programming, and it is a 100% question in interview. Whenever we go for interview, first they will ask what is method overriding. Okay. So in a class hierarchy, when a method in a subclass has the same name and type signature as a method in its superclass, then the method in the subclass is said to override the method in the superclass. See, you just concentrate on the sentence. In a class hierarchy, see, whenever you look at the words in a class hierarchy, that is nothing but the concept of inheritance. If there is a word hierarchy, that is inheritance, whether in programming language or in general world also. Hierarchy means what? For example, if I say family hierarchy, that is grandfather, father, son, that is the hierarchy. Grandparents, parents, son or daughter. So that is nothing but the hierarchy. Here, class hierarchy means like minimum 2 classes, class A, class B. That is called class hierarchy. So in a class hierarchy, when a method in a subclass has the same name and type signature as a method in a superclass, then the method in the subclass is said to override the method in the superclass. See, we have method overloading concept. Method overloading means 2 or more methods with the same name and type signature. 2 or more methods with the same name and type signature. Method overriding means also same thing, like here, in case of method overriding, what we have to do? We have to consider 2 or more methods with the same name and same type only, as in case of method overloading. In addition to that, what we have to consider? Here, we have to consider like superclass and subclass. Okay, in superclass, one method you consider. In subclass also, same method you have to use. That means method name should be same. Method name and type signature should be same. In that case, what happens? See, when a method in a subclass has the same name, that means function name if it is same, whatever you are using in superclass, same name if you are using in the subclass, and the type signature. Type signature means what? Function name, parameter list. Okay, function name, parameter list. Same name and type function name and parameter list is same in its superclass, then the method in a subclass is set to override the method in a superclass. So when an overridden method is called from within a subclass, it will always refer to the version of the method defined by the subclass. The version of the method defined by the superclass will be hidden. Here you will come to know if there is a same method name in the subclass, then will be there any conflict while executing? So we will see. Okay. See, you just look at this program. Class A, we have two variables I and j. One constructor we have A, okay, which belongs to class A, superclass. This is the parameterized constructor because we have two parameters A and B, and I is equals to A, J is equals to B. Next, display method we have. One more method we have. This is not a constructor, but one method it is, okay, which is present in class A. In functions, we will call it as methods. For functions, we will call it as methods in Java. So display is a method, and we have printed two values I and j. Next, when we go for the class B, we can say subclass of A because extends keyword is there. Before extends, whatever the class name is, that is called subclass. After extends, the class name is nothing but superclass. So here A is a superclass, B is a subclass. Okay. So it is inheriting. B is inheriting from some properties, okay, or all the properties. In class B also we have the constructor. See, in class B we have the constructor, right? So first statement should be the super keyword. If there is a parameterized constructor, first statement should be the super keyword. Then you can write any statements in the subclass constructor. Okay. Now you see display function. You see how we are writing. You just compare first line of the method in the subclass, first line of the method in the superclass. Exactly it is matching. See here, void display parenthesis, that is without any parameters. Next, void display parenthesis without any parameters. That means first line is matching exactly. That is return type, function name, parameters. All it is matching. In case of method overloading, that will not be the case. Either there will be a different number of parameters or there will be a different data type. But here it is not like that. It is exact same. Exact same means first line only, not remaining lines. I am telling first line of the function. So return type void, display method name is display, and inside that no parameter. Similarly, return type is void, display method name. Within the parameters there is no within the parenthesis there is no parameters. So first line is same. If that is the case, that is in place of superclass and in place of subclass, if the method contains the same name, return type, even parameters are also matching. If there is one parameter, if there is one parameter, or if there is no parameters, if it is matching, this type of concept is called as method overriding. I hope you people are getting. Don't get confused with the method overriding, method overloading. It is method overriding. If I want to call display method as method overloading, what I have to do is, you don't worry about return type. In case of method overloading, don't worry about return type. You have to look within the parenthesis. Within the parenthesis means either there should be a different number of parameters or there should be a different data type. For example, if I write int a, okay, then come here. If you write float a, now it is changed. How it is changed? Parameter is 1. If you look at both methods, parameter is 1, but data type is different. See, in the display method of class A, I am using int data type. In the display method of class B, I am using float data type. So in this way, there is a change in the data type of the parameters. Or else, if I am using like int a, and when you go here, when you go to the display method of class B, here also if you are using data type same, you change the number of parameters. Like this, you do it. Okay. If the data type is matching, change the number of parameters. If the data type is different, then you can keep the same number of parameters like that. This is called as method overloading. Either change in the number of parameters or change in the data type. But in case of method overriding, what happens? Method overriding, nothing should be changed. Exactly, it should be there. See here, if you are not using parameters, here also don't use parameters. That is only in the first line I'm telling. First, in the first line, there should be nothing changed when you look at the subclass method and superclass method. That concept is called as method overriding. Then what will be the change? That should be the next question for us. Because if there is nothing changed, then what is the use of using 2 times the same function, right? Change you have to see in the code. There will be change in the code. Code in the sense, when you start the opening brace and when you end the closing brace, between opening brace and closing brace, what you write, that matters here. In case of method overriding, that matters. So there will be change in the code. See here you see println, I am displaying I and j. Here I am displaying k. If this much is change also, it is agreeable. Change in the sense, see how they are telling, if suppose, if you write println statement here, if you write like this, one blank space you give, okay, and if you go to the display method, if you are giving 4 or 5 blank spaces, this is also called as change. In that way, they are considering method overriding. Not only if you are telling displaying ij and k, this is also considered as change. That means even if there is a change in even a single character also, we can say there is a change in the code. So this concept is called as method overriding. Okay. Now in this case, we will see how it executes. Okay. So we have class A, class B, superclass, subclass. In both the things, display method is there. For display method, we are calling it as method overriding concept. Okay. Then class override. That means main method we are writing in the class override. Say B sub OB is equals to new B of 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we'll see the diagram. Okay, B sub OB is equal to new B of 1, 2, 3. Sub OB dot display. We will see how it is working. Okay. Output is very simple, but we'll try to understand the program. B sub OB is equal to new B of 1, 2, 3 means it will call the constructor B, which is subclass constructor. So 1 will be copied to A, 2 will be copied to B, C will be copied to 3 will be copied to C. Okay, 1, 2, and 3 values are copied to A, B, C. In constructor B, that is subclass constructor, super keyword is there. Along again we have the parameters, that is A, comma B. So for A value is 1, for B value is 2. So these 2 values are copied to constructor. See, whenever super keyword is executed, it will call the superclass constructor. Here superclass constructor is A. So A value is copied to A, B value is copied to B. In turn, again, A value is copied to I, B value is copied to J. So for class K, what you have to consider, I and J values 1 and 2. So from where we have got B sub OB is equals to new B of 1, 2, 3. From this line only we got. First it will call the constructor B. Inside that super keyword is there. It will call the constructor A. For constructor A, values are passed. In turn, those values are passed to instance variables. So for instance variables, we can consider the values 1 and 2. After executing the super keyword, there is one more statement in the constructor B. That is K is equals to C. So this line starts executing because super keyword that job is done. After that line, K is equals to C. K equals to C means the C value is 3 here. That value is passed to K. So for class B, for sub OB object, you have to consider one variable, that is K. That value is 3. Okay. Now coming to the line, sub OB dot display. See, sub OB, the name itself tells it is the object of subclass. That is the object of class B. Dot display. Now this line you have to understand correctly. Display word, display method is present both in class A and class B. Correct? You see, in class A also it is present, in class B also it is present. And there is nothing change in the sense like even parameters, data type, method name, everything is same. Then we get a question, which method it will call, whether it will call the method present in class A or it will call the method present in class B. We get a question. In that case, what you have to do, you have to look at the object. It's very important. Sub OB object refers to class B. Because sub OB object refers to class B, then display method present in class B will be called. It's very simple, correct? You look at the comments here. This calls display method in B. Okay. If suppose if I have written like just for example, I'm telling if I write A super OB is equals to new A. If I have written like this, and in place of super sub OB, if I use super OB. Okay, then I can say this calls display method in A because it all depends on the object what we use. Okay, so super OB is the object of class A. So if you say super OB dot display, it will call the display method in A. And if it is like this, So sub OB is the object of class B, so it will call the display method in B. So only you see sub OB dot display, it will call this method, it will display k is equals to k value is 3. So the below display function belongs to class B. Okay. So just look at this diagram on the program. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Oh, some explanation is given just below the program. So when display method is invoked on an object of type B, the version of display defined within B is used. That is, the version of display inside B overrides the version declared in A. If we wish to access the superclass version of an overridden method, we can do so by using super. For example, in this version of B, superclass version of display is invoked within a subclass version. This allows all instance variables to be displayed. So we will see in this program what they have done. Okay. Okay. So there is little bit change in the class B. For previous program only, there is little bit change here. That is, in class B, okay, constructor is same, super keyword is there, everything is there. In case of display method, one more line they have written. That is nothing but super dot display, because if you look at the previous program, even though display method is present in class A and class B, but if I use the object of class B, display method of class B is only called. So there is no chance of calling display method of class A unless and until object is created of class A. But here one facility they have given. What facility is? When program control comes to class B inside display method, you can give like super dot display, like super of A comma B. You can say super dot display. This calls class A's display. See how nice it is. So we can one more time we can write super dot display. When you write super dot display method of class B is also executed, display method of class A is also executed because of this line super dot display. So that only they are telling. For example,